Hello?
Well, greetings, everyone, and a most heartfelt salutations to everyone out there in streaming land. I am Lord Cash. I'm going to let the Wookiee win tonight. By doing so, I'm going to be going solo tonight, talking about the new series that's going to be debuting next week on Disney Plus on Wednesday. Wednesday is now the new the new Friday when it comes to the new MCU Marvel series that's going to be airing on Disney Plus. Loki, the third installment of the MCU TV series, which is weird to believe that this is now the third series that we've gotten on Disney Plus, and we still have not gotten the release of Black Widow. I know Black Widow is slated to be released in theaters as well as on Disney Plus with the premiere access on July 9th. So we're pretty much going to be almost done with this series before it actually hits theaters. So by the time it debuts, we will have gotten 5 episodes out of Loki, and I believe it's going to be a 6-episode series. So with that being said, the last episode, the finale, will be in fact the Wednesday after Black Widow comes out in theater. So yeah, I'm looking up on IMDb. Debut series premiere is Wednesday, June 9th. 6 episodes have been slated. According to IMDb, none of them have episodes, but July 14th will be the final episode of Loki. So it's only 6 episodes, very similar to that of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So me personally, I am super, super excited for this series. And that's just because it's dealing with time travel. I absolutely love time travel. It is one of my, as far as storylines go within a movie, a TV series, if you dabble with time travel, you're going to sell me on the premise like that. So there have been some really bad, not really good time travel movies, series out there, but because it does deal with time travel, I'm hooked right off the way. One of my most favorite series growing up in the 80s, early 90s, when I would watch them on reruns. But one of my favorite shows, and I will contend to this, that I think this is one of those shows that needs to be rebooted for the now time frame, and that is the show of Quantum Leap. One Sam Beckett traveling through his time period and trying to fix, make right the wrongs in history. And I think if you got someone of, my age, that 30s and 40s in the late 2020s, you've got 40 years of time frame. So you're talking about, maybe as early as, in the 70s, all the way up to the now. Think of all the time frames that you can do all the stuff that happened in the 80s, the 90s. I know that there was a couple of special episodes where they focused on like the JFK assassination. You can do a 9/11 little something there. Have one of those little more serious episodes, but I think Quantum Leap would be a great show to reboot. And again, because it deals with that time travel, it definitely sucks me in right away. And that's one of the things that's happening with Loki. They're pretty much being captured by the TVA, the Time Variance Association, I believe is what their little acronym is called. I'm kind of looking up just to verify that I'm actually saying that correctly, but I do believe that is what the premise. And of course, it's Loki. Hijinks ensues. So of course, things are going to happen. He's going to get out. I'm sure he's going to break away and things of that nature. So it's going to be a great time. Owen Wilson is going to be in this one. So I'm sure there's going to be a couple of instances where he's going to go, wow, in this, because, it's Owen Wilson. That's what he has. So, but yes, My question to you is, how excited are you for this new Disney Plus series, Loki? Are you excited as I am? On a scale of 1 to 10, how many Thor's hammers would you be giving this series? For me, it's a 10 Mjolnirs all the way around. Because, like I said, they've given us a great show with WandaVision. They've given us a great show with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they've got 23 movies that back them up. There've only been like maybe one or two stinkers, at least that someone might call a stinker, within the MCU universe of all the films that they've put together. I think and those were fairly earlier on days. I think like the last quote unquote stinker would have been around that Age of Ultron. Some say Thor Dark World was not so good. Those are probably like the bottom of the barrel. So since then, phase 3 has been, on fire. And then now dealing with everything that we're dealing with in phase 4 with these TV series, absolutely wonderful and amazing. So, but with the new series debuting next week, I kind of wanted to give a little MCU history, little rewind, if you will, of what to expect. How did we get to this series? What happened with Loki to get from when we first see him in the first Thor movie back in 2011 to when we left off with him in the last Avengers movie, Endgame, back in 2019. There is a lot of stuff that happened in those 8 years of time frame. So kind of that's what this kind of video is kind of going off and saying, here's what to expect. So that's what, like I said, that's what this goal is in this process here. So when we first see Loki for the first time, he is definitely a young person. Look at that Tom Hiddleston. He is, a good 10 years younger than he is right now. So definitely very cool to see, him evolve as a character. But again, you can see how, babyface he is right there. Within the Thor series, he definitely was introduced as Thor's brother. Basically, kind of the way Thor kind of plays out is, and again, I'm going to let you go into a little secret. These movies have been out for a while. If you're going to be going into Loki, I'm going to go on the figurization that I've seen these movies, or if you are, there's going to be some possible spoilers ahead. So sorry. But basically the premise of this is Loki and Thor are, they're brothers. Odin is kind of thinking about passing on the torch of being king. And but in order to do that, he's got to find out who's more worthy. And Thor is kind of kind of a big head at the time, so he kind of gets banished because of his arrogance that happens on a battle, and he gets punished by kind of being removed of his powers. He is no longer worthy to hold Mjolnir, the hammer, and is pretty much banished to Midgard, which is essentially what they call Earth. Is one of the 9 realms that the Asgards fall within. And so within that, he goes there, which, because Thor is now away, Loki has a chance to play a little bit and kind of get into a little bit of mischief. He does find out that he is not a true Asgardian. He's actually the son of a frost giant. So he's kind of got an Elsa theory because the cold doesn't bother him anyway. But basically, he starts to plot a revenge against his stepdad, his father, Father Odin, and creates a plan to where the frost giants are going to invade. I've just blanked on Asgard. Is going to invade Asgard, but in the process, he kind of betrays the frost people and actually kills them and becomes, quote unquote, the hero of Asgard. And then, of course, while on Midgard, on Earth, Thor meets, a couple people. He meets Jane, um, who's played by Natalie Portman, Jane Foster, who's going to have a large role or a larger role in the new Thor movie, Love and Thunder. So don't want to spoil too much about that, but that's going to be a good one. Like I said, he meets friends there, another scientist, and of course, this is where we get our first introduction to. Yep, that just happened. I just forgot her name. Kat Dennings, Darcy Lewis, and then Eric Selvig, who is played by Stellan Skarsgård. So those are kind of like the main four characters on Earth, and basically Loki is trying to get back at Thor for all of the stuff that's happened, and ends up sending a large destroyer robot to take out Thor and anybody that might get in the way. So with that, Thor ends up fighting and becomes worthy again, and because basically sacrificing himself to save the people of Earth, of Midgard, and thus becoming worthy again. He gets access back to his hammer Mjolnir and becomes the god of thunder once more, and ends up taking out the destroyer robot, and thus saving Earth from the quote unquote invasion. At the end of the movie, kind of Loki gets a hand slap and told don't do that again, but Thor ended up going back to Asgard to go back home, have food, drink, be merry. Now we fast forward a year as far as our cinematic universe is concerned to 2012, and this is when we get the epic, the first of its kind, the Avengers, where we bring all 6 of the superheroes from the MCU that we've gotten so far, which of course is Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, which we meet for the first time in the Thor movie, and then of course, did I miss one? Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor. I feel like I missed someone, but so those are the ones that we get there. Yeah. Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye. So I didn't miss them all. There was all 6 of them. I just can't count in my head out loud. So we get those 6 characters. They come together because Loki is basically planning a Earth invasion with the help of the Chitauri. So those are those creatures that we kind of see in space. I'm looking to see if I've got a nice little image of them. So they're kind of creepy. But again, we do have Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury pulling together all the Avengers to create this the superhero team to combat Loki, because at the very beginning, Loki comes in and steals the Tesseract from S.H.I.E.L.D., and then, of course, that causes things to go downhill. Ends up putting Hawkeye as well as the Doctor under, the spell of Loki, because he has the scepter, which we later learn has the Mind Stone in it. So, of course, by doing that, places them under mind control, and they're kind of working for Loki. And then trying to think of exactly how the movie plays out. They ended up getting unbrainwashed, and of course they go to battle. There's that big battle of New York City that they talk about. Lots of explosions, lots of Chitauri, floating around, flying around. Loki ends up getting captured during one of the fights, and so therefore is at their disposal. And so once they do end up winning, beating the Chitauri and sending them back, they are able to essentially send Loki back to Asgard, where he can face punishment there. So I remember watching Avengers for the first time, and it was just absolutely amazing. The first time that we get a multi-movie, crossover of that caliber was just absolutely amazing. We get introduced to Agent Coulson, who's kind of working to bring things together with Nick Fury. He ends up getting killed. Again, sorry, spoiler. But because of that, that's what truly brings the Avengers together. They now have a common goal when taking down Loki and the Chitauri. So after that happens, like I said, they're able to go back and everything is good. So again, that was 2012 with the Avengers. I know I'm not kind of going over everything because again, I do want to make sure that if you do get a chance to watch these movies and if you want to get a little refresh, I don't want to go beat by beat, plot point by plot point, so that way at least you kind of will not be fully, there's still some surprise moments there. But yeah, these are, I would imagine, I know in the past that they have done them, the Legend series over on Disney Plus. They have done a few of those episodes where they will kind of give you a what's what of a who on the the various characters. So they've already done, I'll go ahead and add here, they've done Wanda Maximoff and Vision. They did those two for the first Marvel series when they did when that show came out, WandaVision. Then Falcon came out. These are only anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes in length. I think Zemo is like 7 minutes. So, but you got Falcon, the Winter Soldier, Zemo, and then the last one was Sharon Carter, kind of giving a little backstory of what they are. So I'm doing an audio version of that right now. But again, I would imagine possibly tomorrow they're going to be releasing a Loki version of that, either tomorrow or by next week, to kind of help springboard the new Loki series. So his first appearance, we saw him in the 2011 Thor movie. And then we got to see him as the bad guy in the 2012 The Avengers movie. And then the next time we get to see him was in 2013, Thor: The Dark World. Now, this is one of those movies that, like I said, for the most part, gets a lot of slack for not being that good. I would kind of a little bit of agree here. The storyline is kind of a little dry, but it's part of the MCU. So if I'm doing a marathon, I definitely will include it. If I'm kind of just doing a hit and miss, maybe, not so much, but we'll it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in. It's got, great people. One of my favorite actors who's from the Doctor Who universe is Christopher Eccleston. He plays Malekith, one of the Dark Elves, the main villain in the series. So with this, we kind of start off with Thor doing his thing. He trying to remember exactly what is happening at this point in time. Probably should have done a rewatch myself, but maybe that'll be between now and then. But basically, the Dark Elves, they get awoken up because there's also something called the ether, which is, I believe, so it's red. So that would be the Soul Stone that we get. No, it's the Reality Stone. Sorry, I'm correcting myself. Please don't flood my comments with corrections. It was the Reality. I think I did it again. Yes. No. What am I doing? The Reality Stone. Yes, Reality is the red. I'm confusing myself. So with that, the ether is the Reality Stone, which gets injected or absorbed by Jane Foster's and gets very sick and gets taken back to Asgard. And because of this, the Dark Elves, who are looking for this ether, ends up going, kind of using it as a homing beacon to find where Asgard is, and thus Chaos ensues. There's a big battle that happens there. Um, and eventually Thor and Loki kind of have to team together because he's down in one of the dungeons. And he's like, "Look, dude, I need your help." And they kind of go together to take on Malakath. Loki ends up dying for the first time, or maybe the second time, but he ends up, biting the bullet. Though he's not really dead because it's Loki. He never really dies, except for one of the last movies we're going to talk about. But anywho's, they team up and they go to fight Malakath, and then eventually, Thor ends up back in Earth on Midgard and has the battle with Malakath. And no spoiler here, but Thor wins. Malakath is defeated, and so there is there's a little bit of character growth we see between Thor and Loki, kind of working together, being that brothers that they were growing up to be, even though they're really not related at all. One of the things that Loki has is he has that shape shifting ability. The guy being the god of mischief. That's definitely something that comes in handy. So that's pretty much kind of a very condensed version of Thor: The Dark World. It's probably one of the ones that I've seen the least of the MCU movies. So I apologize for kind of skipping over a lot of the plot points there. But again, if you haven't seen the movie, definitely give it a check. Check that out, because again, these are going to be the 6 movies that will feature Loki. That will lead up to the Loki series that's going to debut next Wednesday on Disney Plus. So those are 3 of that's pretty much half of the movie so far. I kind of just do a recap. We did Thor, the original solo movie from 2011. Then we got the Avengers movie, 2012. 2013, we got Thor: The Dark World, and then I believe they took a couple little time off because it wasn't until 4 years later that we got the next installment of Loki, and that was Thor: Ragnarok. I was going through the timeline, and I was like, I don't believe there were any other ones in there. So I think these are going to be the 6 movies that features Loki. And again, 2017 Thor: Ragnarok is the one that comes in 4th place. Now, this one definitely had a different feel and theme to it. This one was directed by Taika Waititi, who plays a new character in the show. You see that rock guy, I think his name is Korg. He does the voice of Korg, which is a hoot and a riot. But basically, Thor is off doing his own thing, and kind of Loki, I believe at the end of A Dark World, has assumed the role of Odin, because Odin's not doing so well, or missing, I believe. So he kind of takes on the role of Odin and is ruling Asgard for quite some time. Thor is not aware of this until he comes back and finds that Loki is putting on this whole theater production of some of the events that have taken place in Thor's life, and maybe not so much portrayed as noble as things were in real life. And Loki was kind of elevated a little bit higher than he should have been in some of the dealings that went on. But in this movie, we also get introduced to another character of the Odin's children, and that is Hela. So she's played by Kate Blanchett, fantastic actress. Sorry, I tried to get that out there. And so basically, you've got Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and Kate Blanchett as Hela. These are the 3 children of Odin. And so basically, she's kind of been banished a long time ago. Thor and Loki don't even know who she is. And basically, she's kind of come to wreak havoc on everything. We find out that Odin has been on Midgard, kind of being protected there. And in the process of trying to find him, Hela kind of, as soon as Odin dies, Hela is freed from her prison that pretty much Odin put her in, and thus chaos gets to happen. That the storyline gets to unfold, and pretty much Hela is trying to destroy or take over Asgard and be ruler, be queen. So there's some interesting things that happen there. It's lots of good times. Definitely the humor level is definitely increased a lot since the Dark World. Taika Waititi definitely brings in that comedy flair to it. But in the process of trying to get away from Hela, they pretty much call upon Heimdall to bring the I don't want to say whatever that little they get beamed up. I'm blanking on what that term is. I know it's not like the Frost Bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, but basically the three of them get sucked up and to go back to Asgard. But unfortunately, Loki and Thor get kind of knocked out, and they end up on a different planet. So where this is where we actually get to meet Jeff Goldblum's character, the Grandmaster, as well as Tessa Thompson, who is known as Valkyrie. So this is great. They land on the planet. Thor gets rescued, we'll use the terms there, by Valkyrie and kind of sold to the Grandmaster as a gladiator type thing. And of course, his first battle, he goes in there, and the first person that he has to go fight off is his friend from work. That's right. We haven't seen the Hulk in quite some time. And this is where we actually find out where he's been since we last saw him in, I believe, Age of Ultron. He takes one of the Quinjets and flies away. How he ended up on this planet, not 100% certain. I don't know if they actually go into, if they'll ever kind of go over that detail. But yeah, they end up there. And so he has to fight him and pretty much kind of knocks him out a little bit. They go at it toe to toe. It's a great little fight sequence that they've got going on. And it's one of those moments where I believe a kid from like a Make-A-Wish kind of gave them the line of, oh, you're fighting a friend from work type of thing. And so he actually used that line when we see, the Incredible Hulk for the first time. He's like, I know him. And so it's kind of a great little moment there. Like I said, the humor is definitely raised up a notch. But while this is going on, again, Hela, the goddess of death, as she is known as, which that's a great moniker to have. I'm the goddess of death. Fear me. Is trying to do what she can to take over Asgard, which again, everyone is kind of running away from her, hiding. So definitely the more positive storyline is over dealing with Thor and Loki. He's over there as well. Loki, unfortunately, fell in favor with the Grandmaster, so he's actually there watching this gladiator event taking place. But of course, Thor doesn't want to stay there. He tries to break out, enlists the help of the Incredible Hulk, who eventually allows Eric Banner to come out and actually be, the human version versus the Hulk version. And from there, with the help of Valkyrie, they ended up escaping this planet they've landed on. I'm really trying to find the name of that planet, but I am just drawing a blank on what planet that they land on. So if by chance you know it, go ahead and leave that in the comments below, and I will definitely give you credit for the name of that planet because I am blanking. So in the process, so in the end, they escape. They get back to Asgard, and Hela is taking over. There's a big battle, and there's really only one way for um, them to beat um, Hela, and that is to basically have the title of the movie Ragnarok is for Ragnarok to happen. So events play out again. I won't spoil this because this was a more recent movie. I don't feel even though it is you know at this point 4 years old. I don't want to go too much into a storyline because again, this one is one that you definitely want to watch if you've never seen. But again, the events of Ragnarok play out. Asgard is destroyed, and basically all of the Asgardians leave on a ship with Loki on board, and they escape the remains of Asgard. Now, the reason why I mentioned that part is because it definitely ties into the events that take place at the beginning of the next Avengers movie that came out the following year, which is the Avengers Infinity War. This was the first of the quote unquote two-part Avengers that came out in 2018 and 2019 Avengers Endgame. Now, these two movies, we don't get a lot of Loki. And there's a reason for that. And that is because at the very beginning of Infinity War, we do see this version of Loki essentially get killed by Thanos. They at this point, Thanos has already destroyed Xandar and gotten the purple power stone that was being held by the Xandars. Um, and so with that, he already has one of the Infinity Stones. Now he's looking for the second one, and that is through the Tesseract. So that was one of the big square blue device that helped that we kind of really get a lot of stuff from the first Avengers movie that he's trying to actually bring back to Thanos in the first movie. So again, Loki was working for Thanos since the first movie, so kind of tries to play to the yes, I'm allegiance to you, Thanos. Everything should be fine, Thanos. But unfortunately, he tries to double cross him and try to basically take out Thanos. But Thanos is able to see through it, and of course, ends up like choking him and snapping his neck. That's within the first 10-15 minutes of the movie of Infinity War. So that's kind of where Loki's story in this incarnation basically ends. So we see him at the beginning of Thor in 2011, and we follow him through the events of Avengers 2012, his teaming up with Thor in the Dark World in 2013. But then, of course, even more teaming up with him and getting a lot of more, nicer qualities, more redeemable qualities when we see him in Thor Ragnarok in 2017, that he kind of almost gives his life in Infinity War in 2018. So there's a nice 7-year time frame there where Loki has had a lot of growth. So unfortunately, that version of him is dead. Now, when we see Loki again, it's not until towards the end of the Avengers Endgame when they decide that in order to defeat Thanos, they have to get the Infinity Stones again, because at the beginning of Endgame, we've learned that Thanos has destroyed them. So they are no longer in existence according to Thanos. We don't see it, so maybe they're still there. Who knows? But they devise a way that they can actually travel through time. So in order to get the all the stones, they have to go back and get the scepter. They have to kind of figure out a time frame that they can do this. When is it going to be able to get them? And I'm trying to think of at what point in time did they get the scepter? That is boggling my mind right now. it might have been during the 2012 Avengers when they actually, had it in their possession. That is when they first tried to go back and get the Tesseract. Um, Once they got it back, I think, yeah, at the end of Endgame. I'm sorry, at the end of Avengers, they had both the scepter and the Tesseract in possession, and so that's what they were going to do there. Um, and then, of course, they got the ether from Jane Foster off of the she's at Asgard from the Dark World. They got the Space Stone um, from, let's see, the Space Stone was the, which one color is the Space Stone? I'm blanking. Well, the Time Stone they got from the medallion that Doctor Strange wears. So before he gets it, they're able to get it from the Ancient One. They go back. I believe Mark Ruffalo goes back and asks to get that one. And then, of course, let's see, Power Stone. They get that one from the planet before they get it in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's one I'm missing. Oh, I guess the Soul Stone. They have to go back and get that one as well, which of course, unfortunately, does lead to Black Widow dying at the end. So sorry, spoiler that one on that one. But again, you can still see her in her prequel movie, the Black Widow solo film that's going to be debuting July 9th on theaters as well as on Disney Plus with premiere access. That was my little unpaid shameless plug for Black Widow. But of course, so let's see. They get all the soul and they all get all the gems anyways. But the one we want to focus on is the one that's in the Tesseract. So that's the Space Stone. I probably should have written these down just so I have easy access to them and remember which one. So one of them, and I actually, for those that may not know, I'm Lord Cash. I collect lots of Funkos. And so one of the Funkos that they have since released is dealing when they go back in time and they want to get the Tesseract from Loki. Or after they have it in their possession. And basically, so Loki is kind of, he's been captured. It's at the end of the Avengers movie. And basically, he's all locked up and things happen. And the Tesseract actually gets out of its case, slides over to his feet, and Loki picks it up. And then from there, he disappears into space. And essentially, that is where we're going to be picking up the Loki TV series. Now, one of the Funko Pops that I actually have is you actually have Loki there. He's got the Tesseract in hand, and this is actually a glow in the dark. So I believe the Tesseract actually glows in the dark. I have the box here. I took him out. So again, was a Funko limited edition pop, glows in the dark, based on, I'm presuming, like I said, by the picture there, that the Tesseract is what glows in the dark. So if I had a really nice bright light on here, you would actually see the Tesseract glow. But this is taken from Avengers Endgame, the last time we see Loki inside the MCU before the new series picks up with the Loki being basically, as soon as he gets away, the TVA is like, whoa, 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 this is not right. This is not how things played out. We need to make things right. So, of course, by doing so, they capture him and they get the Tesseract, I'm presuming. And then, of course, we've got six episodes of amazing funness that, is going to play out on the Disney Plus. So my question to you, which I have a couple of them, of those 6 movies that I just mentioned, Thor, Avengers, Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, which probably may not count. Those are kind of like iffy ones because they really don't have a lot of Thor in them. So it might be a little biased there. But what is your favorite MCU movie that features Loki? I have a feeling that some of the answers might be Infinity War, Endgame, just because those are such epic, masterful piece of work. But again, doesn't have a lot of Loki in them. So if that is your true answer, maybe lean towards the other three, other four, especially the core three that are the Thor movies. Definitely features Loki a lot in them. So um, lots of good stuff there. But I'm excited for the new Loki series. I hope you are as well. And as I mentioned, it will be debuting next Wednesday on the Disney Plus streaming service. And with that, it will be on Wednesday, June 9th. I would imagine at 3 a.m., very similar to how they've done it. So if you are staying up past midnight, of course, if that is Eastern time, midnight if you are on the West Coast over in California area. It'll be more of a midnight release. So definitely check it out. We are going to be hopefully covering that series starting next week. So next week is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. The show is going to be normally we would have the show debut on Friday, and then we wait a full week that following Thursday to let things sink in, marinate, give you a chance to watch them. But now it's Wednesday, boom, Thursday the next day, we've got to have our review up. So it's going to be exciting. But again, let's go ahead and talk about some of those other shows that you might be able to see us on. So today, Thursday, iStream, Ustream, where we talk about all that stuff that is on streaming services, whether it is Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube. We're going to be talking about all those shows. I believe our next one is going to be covering the Loki series on Disney Plus. So definitely check back with us on next Thursday for episode 1 recap. On Fridays, we do Funko Royalty, where I, Lord Cash, will be talking about and showing off some of my Funko collection, whether it's stuff that's already in my collection or stuff that I just recently got that I am super jazzed to show off to you. Saturday is Mail Call Mail Time, where we kind of unbox some of the things that we've gotten in the mail, whether that is, I do a subscription to the Wizarding World Harry Potter Loot Crate box, as well as I get the Lootware stuff. So as I get those in, I show those off. Counterparts, all that Pat and Bitterwitz, they get the Dino Drac Fun Pack, which gets a lot of nostalgia stuff from the 80s that they get to open up. So definitely, as well as other things. We order stuff from the mail all the time. I had stuff where I opened up a bunch of trading cards. Got them right here. Going to be talking about these pretty soon. So open them there. Got stuff where if we order them, we get those. If we go into the shop where I got the cards from, that's on our Call of the Wild on Sunday nights, where we talk about the stuff that we've purchased out in the community. And as I mentioned, we do have our cards there, where we will open those cards on Monday night during Crazy Card Collection. Stuff where it may be movie related, as Batman Returns. It might be Garbage Pail Kids, or it might be some Americana cards that we just opened up last week, talking about some of the presidents and just various people in American history. It was kind of cool just kind of see what they had in there. Tuesday night is our kind of one of our flagship shows, Slam Nation Wrestling, where all that Pat and myself, we will give a rundown of what's going on in the world of wrestling. Typically, we talk about what's going on in the WWE universe, but we've been known to take a little side trip and talk about what's going on in AEW, All Elite Wrestling. And sometimes we'll have a show with WWE and one show with AEW. So definitely have to check us out. This is where we say, like, subscribe to our channel, whether it is on YouTube, Facebook, or as well as over on Twitch. Do all those, because again, if we do have a specialty show coming that pop up, you will definitely get notified of that. And then rounding out the week is on Wednesday, the Game Room, where we play video games. We talk about them. Maybe it's a review. We've done stuff as W2K. Battleground, 2K20, where we've done various battle royals, Royal Rumbles. We've played Looney Tunes Back in Action, Cobra Kai. So we definitely are trying to not just play the same stuff, unless those are the ones that you really like, and definitely put those comments down below what you'd like us to see. All That Pat has a vast collection of video games. I've got the Funko Pops. He's got the video games. So definitely let us know if there's a game that you want us to play, dabble in. We will definitely take those requests into consideration. But again, that kind of rounds out our week. We do love when you guys tell your friends about it. So with that, we say spread the word of the nerd, and that way we can get some more viewership. Because again, the more people that watch, the more people that respond to us and interact with us, the better the show only gets. So definitely tell your friends, family, that guy on the street you're driving by, be like, hey, have you heard of New York Nerd Show? That's right, we're spreading the word of the nerd. But until then, thank you for joining us here for this kind of update of what's going on with Loki and what to expect, or at least how did we get here in the new Loki series starting next week. So get out there, watch a bunch of shows, because as I say, if you can stream it, you should go watch it. Good night, everybody.
Hello?